In the academic source, called Viking Dublin, Trial Pieces, Patrick Wallace writes, "The slave trade was a major factor in the growth and prosperity of Dublin. It provided a source of cheap labor for the city's economy, and it also generated significant revenue through the sale of slaves to other Viking settlements and to international traders. The buyers of slaves in Dublin were diverse. Viking settlers acquired slaves for domestic service, agricultural labor, and craft production. Irish elites also purchased slaves, often to enhance their own status and power. And international traders transported slaves to other parts of the Viking world, including Scandinavia, Britain, and the continent." Else Roosdahl, in the book The Cambridge Illustrated History of the Vikings, writes, "The slave trade was an integral part of the Viking economy. Slaves were traded across vast distances, connecting Scandinavia to the British Isles, the continent, and even the Middle East. The human cost of the Dublin slave trade was immense. Those who were enslaved endured the trauma of capture, the horrors of transportation, and the dehumanizing experience of being sold in the marketplace. They faced a life of servitude, separated from their families and communities, their futures uncertain." In the book The Archaeology of Slavery, James Dietz, in his chapter called Material Culture and Archaeology of Slavery, writes, "The archaeological record of slavery is often silent on the emotional and psychological trauma experienced by the enslaved. However, we can infer from the material remains the harsh conditions they endured and the challenges they faced in maintaining their humanity and cultural identity. The slave market in Dublin was a hub of human trafficking, a place where the brutality of the Viking Age was on full display. It was a source of wealth and prosperity for the city, but it also cast a long shadow of suffering and exploitation. Let's have a look at how the slave trade likely happened in Dublin. The auctioneer, likely a Viking with a commanding voice and a keen eye for profit, would present each slave to the crowd. He would highlight their physical attributes, their skills, and their potential value to a buyer. The slaves, stripped and prodded, would be forced to endure the humiliation of public inspection. Though from Iceland, the Grogos law code offers insights into the legal status of slaves and how they might have been treated in a marketplace like in Dublin. It states, "A slave who is for sale shall be washed and clad in good clothes, so that his faults may be seen." This suggests an attempt to present slaves in the best possible light, though the underlying dehumanization remains.